So I'm making that first block from the 1-3 modeling blocks. And again, if you guys have questions, feel free to ask as we go along. So to start, I got to click opening up my Onshape, right? I'm going to click on the little plus in the corner and make a new part name. So I'll just call this Mech2 test block or review block. How about that? I'm going to end up deleting it later. But if you want to call yours like the final exam study or block 1 or anything like that, you can. All right, so here's my main menu and everything. I can see all my planes, my origin and everything. Remember, moving 1 finger orbits, 2 fingers sliding it pans, and then if I pinch with 2 fingers, it zooms. And then I also have a whole menu. If I 2-finger tap, I can see other things as well. It's like isometric was that home screen. So to start making this, I want to do this front face right here. So this, all year I've called it that Space Invader villain type shape. So I'm going to click create a new sketch, which was this button up here. And I'm going to start on the front face. There we go. And then I'm going to 2-finger tap and hit view normal to sketch plane, and it'll orbit for me. And then on the iPad, I always like to click this lock button. It keeps it from orbiting. So no matter what I do now, it's not going to orbit on me. Alright, so my suggestion on doing this on the iPad has always been to make your general shape first and then add your dimensions. So remember, I can make this whole front face, but I can't make the peg on the side, right? Because it's at a different depth. It's going to take two extrusions to make this. So my origin is going to be right at that corner, so that's where I'm going to start. So starting from the origin, I'm going to go over a little bit and let go. So what I'm doing is I'm clicking and holding my finger on there so I can see the line. Like, you can just tap if you want to make the points where you want, but I always like to click and hold because then I can get a little bit more exact with my dimensions and everything. And it can lock in vertical and horizontal constraints better. Like that. So the first thing I'm going to add, because I noticed it as a problem, and I just clicked the line tool to deselect it, is that if I click and drag this line and I pull up, you see how it's not connected to the other line across? They should be the same height, right? But they're not. So I'm going to fix that first. So in my menu, nope, sketch menu. So I just re-clicked on that sketch tool. I want a coincident constraint. Where's it at? There it is. So I want that point to also sit on that line. And that should... Oh, that's right. You have to select your points first. Oh, come on. Oh, here, let's do it this way instead. Let's make 2 lines equal. So I'm going to select this. Oh, keep missing. Let's make that line and that line of equal height. There. Now they'll be locked together. That works a little easier. Okay, so now I can start adding all my dimensions. So you have to be careful with which ones we're trying to see and which ones we're trying to not use. So I'm starting with, I've got this 0.5 inch width. It's right there. That's 0.5. Right there, that one is also 0.5. I've got my overall, which is 4 inches from there to there. It thinks it's a height. It doesn't. I don't want a height. Let's try this again. Oh, turn off my dimensioning tool. Here's my 4 inch width. Okay, so then this guy should be 2 inches. This guy should be 1 inch. This width should also be 1 inch. Oh, that's given to us already. And what are we missing yet? So we don't have any height dimensions, right? So it looks like this leg is 1.5. And the height of that should be 1 inch. We're almost there. And then we've just got the height of those pegs, which looks like it's 0.5. So remember, as we're going too, everything's becoming black, right? If it's not black, it's not constrained. So once it becomes a black line, then you're good. So we've got all black lines now, and now we can extrude. So I'm going to leave the sketch by clicking the checkpoint in the corner. I always like to orbit my view so I can see the extrude happen, and it's in that sphere one, because the sphere one is your three-dimensional features. I'm going to extrude that face, and I'm going to go back, just because I wanted the origin in the front. The depth should be the whole distance, so that's that 2.5. Oh, lost it. There we go. So does anyone have any questions at this point? I know I went pretty fast there. Everyone still with me? Yep, okay. Awesome. Again, let me know if you guys have questions. I know I'm going fast. So we're going to do another sketch, but this time we have to start it on this square face, right? So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to click the eyeballs next to the top, front, and right. So just so those origin planes go away, I don't want to deal with them. So I'm going to start a new sketch on this face, right there. And again, view normal, so 2-finger click and hit view normal to sketch plane. So now when I start my sketch, I'm just going to use the rectangle tool. And just make it about where it's supposed to be. That's not too bad. So to answer your questions, guys, Shrey, just the two that are on that document, that's all there is. So those two that I gave you guys at the start of class, or that I gave you on Friday, that's all the CAD problems there are. And Russell, to make it even playing field across everyone, use Onshape, just because not everyone has access to Fusion 360, but everyone has access to Onshape. And also the assembly parts are on Onshape, not on Fusion 360 anyways. So you have to do the assembly on there unless you want to make all the parts. So, all right, I've got this block. So if you look close, I've got 2 dimensions for it, right? It's 0.25 high, 1.5 wide. So let's go ahead and add those. .5. Is it pouring for you guys too? It just started downpouring just about 15 minutes ago. Okay, there's my rectangle with my dimensions. So if you remember, we're missing, part of what we have to do is like our size as well as our position, right? So right now, like I can grab this square and I can move it wherever I want. It's got a size, but it doesn't have a position, right? So we have to find 2 dimensions that are our position dimensions on here. So it tells us where it's supposed to sit. And so if you look close, we have this 0.5 inch width and this 0.75 inch height. And so what I have to do is make a dimension from one line to the next line, like that. And that should be 0.5. And then from the top there to that line, and that should be 0.75. Just like that. So now we have all black lines. We are fully constrained. We can extrude that little square. And then we've only got one more dimension left that we haven't used, and it would be this 0.75 inch width, and that's how far we have to extrude. Okay, our part is finished, but there's still one very important thing we have to do, and that is we have to set our material to set our weight. So the part itself should be, so first off, let's make sure it's in pounds, right? So I click on this little scroll, or the three dots up at the corner. I can change my units. Most of your units should be set to inches, degrees, and pounds already. So again, it was those three dots in the corner. And then to check my weight, I can click on that scale right there. But I don't have any properties selected yet, right? So since it doesn't have a material defined, I can't see the mass. So to do that, if I click the three dots next to part 1 down here, I can hit assign material. So on the final exam, the material that we need is aluminum. It was aluminum 6061. So I'm going to just type in 6061 and it'll show up. Okay, so it now has a material. I can now select the part, click on the scale in the corner, and my mass is 1.624 pounds. That's what I would turn in on Schoology. And then lastly, if I wanted any sort of partial credit, remember I would have to share this, right? Share this with me. So again, the three dots, I can hit the share button. It says it's private. Why is it private? That's odd. I wonder if I go back to the main menu if it's easier to do. Oh, there's the share button. Yeah, so back it looked like it was easier here. So from here, click on the I. I can click that share button, add an individual, and just add me. You guys have all done it before to turn in your other assignments. All right, so that's making a part on Onshape. I'm going to stop this recording and maybe start a second.